Yeah, so I think a lot of people, when they are going to see the cast list, they're not going to, it's hard to imagine how that's going to work, right? Because of how we know Conan O'Brien and how we know A$AP Rocky and their work and their images in the world. I wanted to have non-traditional actors for the supporting roles. One, to give Rose an interesting thing to work with, and two, as a sign to the viewer that I am not playing into any expectations. If you think it's going to be this thing, it's not. It's this other thing. And Conan, I had been a fan of his since I was a teenager, since his first TV show came on air. I've always loved his work. And one night I was listening to his podcast, and he was interviewing David Letterman. And I was listening to their voices, and these are both voices that I've had in my life through television since I was a child. And there's a comfort to that. And then I just thought his voice, if he gave me advice, I would take it. I would trust him. And I think it's so interesting because, but then of course in my script, the character doesn't take his advice and doesn't trust him, and it's sort of the opposite. And I thought that that would be a very interesting thing to play with. And I was lucky enough that he was in a place in his life where he was like, yeah, I've never done this before. He said to me, I don't know if I can do it. You can fire me at any point. It's okay. But he said, but I would like to do it. I would like to try it. And he took it very seriously. He prepared very seriously. And I'm excited for people to see him in this new way. And the same goes for Rocky. Rocky brings a natural charisma that cannot be directed, cannot be taught. He is that. If he in the script it says wink at Linda. This is a guy that has winked at people before, and it's effective. And you cannot teach that, and you can't train that. And I wanted to sort of harness that and use it. And he again was very interested in doing something different. I really lucked out.
Well, Mary and I were so lucky in that we had a long period of rehearsal, just the two of us in dialogue for over 2 months, where we worked together every day for 3 or 4 days in the week, and we went through the entire script. And some days we would just talk about being parents, or talk about challenges in our life, or talk about one scene for the whole session. But it was truly a gift because there was so much. The script is so rich and so full and dense in a way that for Linda, obviously, it's really, truly her perspective on this experience. And without that, I would have felt far less prepared, to say which is an understatement. So that was really such a gift that we had this time together, that it was a great jumping off point to then when we were actually just in the creative process on set, working, and which comes with its own set of challenges. It was shot in 27 days. This was not a grand budget by any means. So the fact that we had that dialogue before was crucial.
Yeah, I want to mention that my cinematographer's Christopher Messina, and he is an absolute genius. And we were able to work together also for many months before shooting. And we got on such a level where I could explain what I want, and he knew how to execute it. There was a shorthand between us. Visually, we were so on the same page. And you were very intimate with him, of course, with the camera.
Yeah, the first day I said, oh, could it be that close? Oh,
And it's not with a zoom, it's a film camera, and it's physically close, yeah.
And Mary said, yes. And I just adjusted, there's a technical kind of acknowledgement of it between you and the camera department, but I think, the moment between action and cut, you're working, and no matter where the camera is. So I as a viewer, when I saw the film, obviously I knew that it was going to be, have an element of claustrophobia, but I really, for me, it was as a viewer, to see the final product was more than I could have imagined. When I'm in the performance, and we're working, and then to see the actual external kind of product later was truly so compelling. I felt strapped into my seat, and I know that the cinematic language was a huge part of that.
I also wanted to create a type of claustrophobia, so that the audience could be experiencing that type of feeling that Linda is feeling. She feels trapped, she feels oppressed upon, she feels like the universe is conspiring against her. And by putting the viewer in the position to also feel a little crowded in, I think helps, or what I want it to do is help the audience be with the film in an experiential way, instead of I'm sitting back and watching this movie. You're in the movie, you're feeling these feelings, and they're uncomfortable.